Hey everyone, you're watching episode 76 of Yield TV. Hey, welcome back. It is Thursday, February 18th, 2021. We have a very special interview for you today. I'm honored that we have one of the biggest, if not the biggest, NFT collectors in the world joining us. You know him by his alias WhaleShark. WhaleShark is a well-known NFT collector. I think many of us have gotten to know him over the last few years because not only has he been on the forefront of pushing NFT use cases, but he took a bold step in launching the Whale social token. So we're going to talk all about that, how it's backed by a vault of very scarce NFTs. We're going to talk about his taste in NFTs, how he values NFTs, and then just about basically all of the excitement and craze lately of the mainstream, like Gary Vaynerchuk getting interested. We, of course, have all heard Mark Cuban talk about NFTs. So anyways, on that note, welcome to Yield TV, WhaleShark. How are you doing?
DeFi Dad, thank you so much for having me on today. Long-term fan of everything that you've been doing in the space, and it's just an absolute honor to be here with you today.
Oh, the honor is mine. And this will be, I mean, God, like I was making questions last night for you, and we were kind of laughing about this before we got on. There's just so many questions because I was like, well, hold on a sec. I have actually dreamed before of like asking you, like, how do you value NFTs? Because your collection is so enormous. I mean, enormous enough that you have this idea for the whale token. So I'm hoping people can learn whether you are a beginner or a more advanced DeFi, NFT, crypto nerd. Like this should be really educational. But why don't we start with some of the simple questions? When did you get into crypto? I guess when did you start to get involved with NFTs? How did that all get started?
Absolutely. And again, I'm an open book, so would love to lay down that knowledge and share that knowledge later on. So as you mentioned, I go by the alias WhaleShark. I actually entered the crypto space in 2012. So traditionally speaking, I'm actually from the branding and marketing industry. And when I found Bitcoin in 2012, I made the crazy decision to take half of my salary every single month and basically buy Bitcoin over the course of 3 years. Essentially, they reached a point in 2015 where I saw all of the amazing potential use cases for Ethereum. And you know, in my profile, being a use case maximalist, immediately what I did was I took all of that Bitcoin and I shifted it into Ethereum overnight. I think we all know what happened from 2015 all the way up to the 2017 bull run. So it was really a very lucky decision to be able to shift from Bitcoin into Ethereum and into this amazing community that Ethereum has today. My first entry into NFTs was actually in July of 2019 when I saw Gods on Chain being launched. And at that point in time, you know, Gods on Chain was very reminiscent to me of Magic the Gathering, which was a huge hobby of mine when I was younger. So immediately went in and dropped $200,000 in buying the most rare cards in the rare packs that I could get my hands on. Since then, it was actually a slippery slope down the rabbit hole. You know, met a lot of amazing people like Jimmy from NFT 42. And he just dragged me down the rabbit hole, screaming and shouting. And, you know, I found out about crypto art. I found out about digital land or the metaverse. Found out all these amazing other collectibles, NBA Top Shots. It's very much a blur from 2019 till today, but that's basically my journey into the crypto space. Yeah,
you tend to be one who tries everything as long as it's related to NFTs and obviously too, you're very invested in the grander crypto space. I'm curious, how do you describe to your friends and family what you do, or how do you even just describe NFTs to you know, those that are new to the space?
So when people ask my family what I do, my family tends to say, I'm not sure, but I think he's selling drugs. But, I think the simple answer that the way that my family describes what I do is he plays with the computers, right? Now we all know that that's a little bit it's a little bit simplified. It's a simplified answer to that. But the way that I describe to my family what I do is I invest in new technologies and I invest in new innovations. But again, the way that my family describes it to other people is he spends a lot of time at his computer.
Yeah. That is definitely how my wife described it, with like highlights in between. She's actually been most engaged lately with when my Twitter follower count went to like 5,000 or something. That was like the first time I think I had like impressed her in years. She's like, wow, you got 5,000. I mean, 5,000 people are listening to you. And but if you were to ask her too, like, what am I talking about? Like, what does this space mean? She's still, even my wife struggles with it, even though I blabber on about it all day long. How about let's go to the basics first before we like hop into your more like advanced insights on NFTs. Let's go back to, how do you describe what an NFT is? Like, why does this matter? Why has the NFT space become so popular lately?
Gotcha. So the way I describe NFT 101 is the ability to tokenize digital assets on the blockchain. Just very simply put. So what that means is I can take anything that is digital and create a token that represents its provenance and its scarcity on the blockchain so that it is on the blockchain there for forever. NFTs, everyone, the majority of your audience or the majority of people here today should know it stands for non-fungible tokens. The beauty about non-fungible tokens, and I've been on Clubhouse for quite a bit over the last 24 hours. I got bit by the Clubhouse bug.
Oh, you have been on it. I didn't know that.
I have. I bought an iPhone. I bought an iPhone just specifically to hop on Clubhouse. Again, dragged down the rabbit hole screaming by Alegria this time. But no, and we've been explaining what NFTs are to the greater public. A non-fungible token, and a lot of people have been asking me, is a non-fungible token the same as Bitcoin? Which again, I think it's a very valid point to many people new that are entering the space. And the way that I explain it, in addition to what I mentioned earlier on, is that essentially one Bitcoin is equal to one Bitcoin, one ETH is equal to one ETH. But with non-fungible tokens, particularly what it means is that one token is very different from the other. So the characteristics in terms of where it has come from, what is the order that it was minted, when it was minted, that's all unique to each individual token. Not to get too complex, but in the ERC 721 standard, right? So yeah, I think again, it's a beautiful way that we are moving towards an inevitable evolution of digital assets.
Absolutely. I think the light bulb that went off for me in the last year especially was once I started hopping into blockchain-based VR, so like crypto voxels, Decentraland, I'm realizing, first off, this is cool. I know it's sort of primitive and new, and there's a long way to go. Like, this isn't the highest quality VR in the world, but there's a thriving community there. And so that community are what people who find commonality between one another, who continue to return there, who see it as almost like a home, but a digital home. And then, it hits you. You're like, wow, like the whole like Ready Player One story. It's not just a movie and a book. This is very likely a future. Maybe it's hundreds of years from now, but if we're going to live in a digitally native world, the stuff that you have can be represented in this case by NFTs. And that's Andrew Steinwald has always, I thought, done this wonderful job of just dumbing it down and saying, NFTs it's digital stuff that you own. Like, you own a lot of stuff. Look around your home. What do you have there? A lot of junk, but a lot of stuff that is valuable to you. And that's what we're seeing when we get into something again like Decentraland or crypto voxels.
Dude, I think you've just created a bumper sticker. NFTs, digital stuff that you own. That's a perfect explanation, right? It's digital stuff. It's digital stuff that you actually own, right?
Right. Right, right. How about gosh, I want to like expand on like the changes that you've seen in the market, because you've been in crypto for a very long time. So like I'm curious, how do you like if you were writing a history book on NFTs, like how do you describe like that journey from when you started in 2013 to now? Like, we think about crypto kitties around 2017, and then I mean, we really started to see what an explosion of art, I think, in 2018, 2019. Nothing compared to now, but anyways, yeah. What are some of the highlights along the way in your journey?
Absolutely. I think so. Again, I wish I could take a time machine, go back to 2017, and when everyone was talking about crypto kitties, just open my wallet and take my money. Unfortunately, can't do that. And I think when crypto kitties was launched, everyone thought that NFTs and crypto kitties, it was a one-time thing, right? It was a fad. It's a lot of fun. But what people didn't understand, and what many of the true pioneers in the NFT space had, was that vision that this was going to revolutionize everything digital, right? So I think CryptoKitties, again, it's a monumental point in time where NFTs really started to garner a lot of mainstream attraction. I mean, same thing with CryptoPunks, right? If you look at CryptoPunks today, I think I was seeing some tweets, and the base floor is in, I think it was $12,000, the base floor for a CryptoPunk, and they were given out for free, right? Based on my understanding. So again, I think those are really the start and the birth of this revolution and evolution of digital collectibles that have been coming. I think every single day when we see a new type of, and I don't want to say asset class or collectible asset class, coming into the space, that's really a memorable milestone in the space. I mean, so you had CryptoKitties, you had Punks. After that, you had Gods Unchained, and then you had Axes bringing on the games. Then after that, you had CryptoVoxels, DCL, Sandbox bringing in the digital real estate. Crypto art, again, has always been, one of the types of assets that have always been closest to my heart. So I think there's like a variety of milestones over the last 2 years that I've been in the space that I look to. And right now we're living through one as we speak. 1 year ago, if you asked me, hey, would NFTs have a mainstream attention? Dude, we spoke earlier on. I have no idea what is going on with so much popularity being driven to the space, and you have so many prominent figures seeing what all of these early pioneers saw as well. So I think it's just an amazing time. I think this journey of NFTs, or the journey of non-fungible technology, is going to be extremely milestone ridden, right? With people launching with Christie's as well. But it will eventually reach the point where people will be using NFTs without knowing what NFTs are. And it's going to be really a badge of honor for all of us that were here to be able to say, this is how it started.
Yeah, I think it is remarkable to think about how close we are to that future where people are using them more commonly, but they just don't realize that they're using them. I mean, for a long time, I remember being into ideas like ticketing. Tickets that are NFTs made so much sense to me. And maybe that is still like a very bright future, but it's not the use case that we're talking about here with like crypto art and gaming and collectibles. It's just when you have something that's very visual, a piece of art that anyone can enjoy, especially like a newer piece of digital art, crypto art that is animated and it's more, what do I want to say? It feels like smarter art than what we know in traditional art worlds. And so it's funny because it's been like a Trojan horse into getting people to use NFTs. It's very natural to look at a piece of art and say, that's cool. You're not asking about the underpinning technology. I've used an example with DeFi as well, where, when you cross a bridge, like I used to live in the Bay Area and I would cross the Bay Bridge. I was never like, who is the architect and what sort of engineering went into this? I just use it because it works. And that to me is the way NFTs work. They're just incredibly useful And we're on the cusp of seeing what more artists, like especially musicians, start to use NFTs as well. But going back to your experience with the metaverse, I'm curious if you could talk more about, like, how have you invested or gained exposure to NFTs in the metaverse, or just maybe the metaverse in general? Curious, like, how you gotten involved there.
I am equally bullish on the metaverse as I am on crypto art, as I am on digital collectibles. Actually, if someone does take a look at the composition of the Whale Vault today, what you'll see is that crypto art actually only, and not only, but it covers about 30% of the total portfolio. Digital real estate, or the metaverse, actually covers 15%. So we're very, very bullish on the metaverse. We are the largest holder of parcels in crypto voxels, and we are the second largest holder of land in Sandbox the game, with the exception being Binance. Once again, deeper pockets. But yeah, I'm very bullish on the metaverse, and the thesis behind that is as follows. I think, again, if we were talking about spending this much time on StreamYard or on Zoom 2 years ago, I think all of us would be surprised with the result in terms of what we're doing here today. But as you look at my avatar, right, I think you can see some of my facial reactions. You can see you, but we're still in 2D. That's not a full culmination of the virtual experience. Right. The full culmination of that virtual experience is the metaverse, right? And I believe that the investment thesis behind the metaverse is that we're investing in buying land that in the future will have more value as people decide to come on, build content, interact within that metaverse environment, which is Zoom 2.0. So I think it's, again, very similar to the ways that NFTs are revolutionizing and evolutionizing digital collectible assets. I see the metaverse, revolutionizing human interaction as we move forward. And love CryptoVoxels, love Sandbox, love DCL. I think these are all amazing projects that are really at the forefront of what's to come.
You make a really interesting point. I haven't thought about this as much lately because at the start of the pandemic, I started doing regular weekly meetings in CryptoVoxels. Most of the people I would go in, though, with really didn't know what it was. So I would kind of catch them off guard and say, hey, instead of Zoom, just click this link and we can we can try to talk through CryptoVoxels, or in most cases, we would just like get on like a Google Hangout. And it catches you off guard, the connection you can make with someone, even in, again, these more primitive VR experiences. I totally believe that not only are we in a world now where remote work is here to stay, but I think it accelerates us even more so towards working in the metaverse. I think what Binance has a headquarters that they built in there, Kraken.
Yep.
Kudos to them. I don't pay much attention to centralized exchanges right now, but I mean, I give credit where it's due. They've been really pushing on the use of the metaverse. So yeah, just really cool stuff.
And I think, again, that when you look at the macro trends here, right? And I've stated these macro trends in other places as well, but you're really looking at a point in time where people are spending over 50% of their time online. We're at a time whereby you have 4 to 5 screens minimum sitting on your desk. And then after that, you also have a generation that grew up with digital assets and digital environments, right? Whether that's in gaming, whether that's in skins. I think all of these trends are funneling down to the ultimate digitalized lifestyle. Whether that is, physical digital assets becoming more valuable than physical assets. And at the same time, in order to have a place to showcase those digital assets, you need to have a metaverse, right? So I think we're seeing all of that flow and come together to culminate in really a revolutionary point in human history.
Absolutely. By the way, while we're talking in the background, I'm seeing if I can get Decentraland loaded. At some point here, we should just quickly hop into one of these in case people aren't aware of those. Let's talk for a moment about, how do you value NFTs? Like, just
Gotcha.
get to the basics of like, what do you ultimately look at and say, hey, that is of value and I might want exposure to it?
Yeah.
The NFT investment playbook. Absolutely. I guess from my side, I do take a more structured approach towards it, coming from a more formal background. Whenever I buy something, I do believe that an adequate analysis has to be done. So the WhaleShark playbook is as follows. When I do look at an NFT, you first got to look at the team behind the project, right? And you can have an extremely good idea, but if the team is not adequate in experience or competency to accomplish that, essentially the best idea can go to waste, and if the team is great, a bad idea can actually become amazingly good. So for me, the first thing that I look at whenever I invest in an NFT project is the team. The second thing I look at is the NFT project itself. You will see that from our side, let's say out of 100% of all of the NFT projects that are launching on a day-to-day basis, we probably invest in 0.01% of them. The reason why is because I'm looking for NFT assets that mirror the same type of value growth that you see in traditional assets. So let me give you an example. Crypto art, no problems, right? You got art, and art, the wealthiest people in the world harbor their wealth in art. If you select the right artist, naturally so, crypto art is just a natural extension of that. NBA Top Shots, baseball cards, basketball cards, sport cards, they only just continue to escalate in value no matter how long you keep them. Immediate parallel that you can draw to NBA Top Shot. So that's one of the prerequisites that I look for when I invest in a project. After that, I look at the assets within that project itself. And very often, what is the use case of that NFT asset? The more use cases that it has, the more valuable it's going to be. And does that NFT asset have a good coherence with the total project vision? The fourth thing I look at is funding. So whenever I invest in a project, I make sure to try and do the due diligence to understand whether this team is well funded. Because again, no project is going to go through the process without encountering a significant amount of difficulties. And it's very likely so that a project with good funding is going to outlast the hard times and be able to succeed if they have that capital base. So those are the four main things that I look for when I invest in any NFT whatsoever. And then after that, we buy the most expensive one, simply because that's where all of a lot of the value growth and value retention is.
What do you think are some of the lasting narratives that we're seeing right now amidst NFTs? And this kind of goes back to really what you just described in terms of like what you value and what makes sense to you ultimately. Because I'm also then my follow-up to this is going to be, what do you find to be bullshit? Like what we're not going to, I don't want to throw any projects under the bus. It's nothing like that. I just mean to say, like, where do you draw the line and start to say XYZ use case is a little bit frothy?
So I think the long-lasting narrative is, again, this is the point in time of technology whereby humankind is moving to a more digital lifestyle, and NFTs are enabling the growth and the acceleration of that shift to a digital lifestyle. So I think that's the overarching narrative that I see for NFTs as a whole. If you're talking about projects or project narratives within the space, I think pretty much it's very similar to, it's digital stuff that you own. Basically, the narrative for NFTs, again, is digitalize everything, right? So I think those sort of narratives are going to continue to flow as NFTs continue to grow as a solution for digital lifestyle. How do I call bullshit on a project? So like I mentioned before, I mean, if we're only investing in 0.01% of projects, then obviously we're not touching 99.99%.
Exactly.
For me, I think the first thing is understanding it's understanding the use case. If I was to boil it down to one word, it would be use case. And while I do invest in projects that have singular use cases like crypto art, it is also extremely seldom that I do so. I do so outside of crypto art. The use case, the use case is everything when it comes to understanding what an NFT is. And let me give a shout out. I'll give a shout out to a project that does this very well. And an example. So Crypto Motors is a digital car automaker, right?
Yeah.
And the way that they approach their business is they say, all right, so we're a group of world-class car designers based out of Germany. Now we're going to create digital cars on the blockchain, new designs with our expertise. But they're not only designing the digital car, which is, again, a digital car is a collectible. They're saying, all right, now you have our digital car. You can now play it in our stat game or in our 3D game. Hey, same NFT. It's a car, so it has value. But now you can also play it in a game. Then after that, they're going again one step further and saying, all right, now if you own our car, basically what you can do. Oh, dude, there you go. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Now you own a car.
While you're talking, keep going. We'll just we'll kind of show them what we mean here, because this is, I mean, as you mentioned, like these are former car designers. Like this is their full-time gig now, right? I'm sure it was part-time first, but this is, I mean, it's just so cool. I mean, by the way, I'll share this link. Like this, I don't have like a special computer or a headset. I mean, it's just fun. You can hop in and, as long as you're not hypercritical of voxels, you're good to go here. But
Divided, the third use case that they have for these cars is that now if you have the asset, hey, we'll give you the ability to use it as a vehicle in all of these virtual worlds when the time comes. So all of a sudden, I just bought one asset. I got a model car. I have the ability to play their games and win prizes. And then on top of that, now I actually have a vehicle that I can pimp out in crypto voxels or in DCL.
It's so
yeah, I love this project to death. By the way,
this is cool. I have been in here many times, but no one has called this out in a while. So I'm happy you mentioned these guys. They do great work. Here we go. So okay, so in terms of those use cases, yeah, there's no doubt art is so core to NFTs right now. It's just such a natural use case. And I think one of the things, maybe we should talk about this a bit more, for those that are new to NFTs, it's about empowering the creator. There has been a legacy of creators, whether you're an artist who's painting, or whether you're a musician, or even like an actor, actress, whatever. There's a tradition of all of these middlemen cutting out, taking from you and delivering XYZ services. And really, we live in a world now where creators have, they can build up a large following and they can just interact directly. And so this will probably then lead us into talking about the whale token. But this is all about giving that power back to creators. And I think it's, for me, like looking at the Token Smart community especially, it's remarkable how well supported many of these artists are becoming. I'm not saying we have a long way to go, and there's a lot of folks that are doing amazing work and still, trying to find ways to make ends meet. But it's cool. It's a whole nother sort of like avenue there. So yeah.
I think it changes, DeFi Dad. I think this changes everything. This changes everything. So there are a couple of reasons why digital art and NFTs make so much sense. I mean, the first overarching theme being the reason why digital art hasn't been able to accrue value or as much attention or commercial value is because prior to NFTs, no one could ascertain the scarcity or the provenance, right, of a piece of digital art. And now you can. But on a wider and more philosophical standpoint, if you look at the traditional art industry, basically it's a walled garden, right? A lot of artists are unable to get their work seen in front of people simply because you have gallery connections, you have museum connections, you have permanent collections, you have all these different things that prohibit the small but amazingly talented artists to go out there and show people their artwork. NFTs essentially democratize that entire process. So essentially, when you look at all of the artists who are ranking in the top tiers today, they didn't do it by shouldering up to a collector. They didn't do it by kissing ass to a museum or a gallery. The way that they did it was they put their art out there. And the total market determined that their pieces are now worth 40, 50, 60, 100,000 US dollars, right?
Absolutely.
The third last point I'd like to make on art is, artists have been so undervalued during this time, especially in terms of secondary sale royalties. In some places they have instituted them well, right? 10%, 5%. But in other jurisdictions, they don't get those royalties at all, right? So with the smart contract abilities of non-fungible tokens, essentially you can bake in those royalties to just automatically pay out to artists as these art pieces are traded around. And basically from, I think what we're seeing, even from initial sales right now, is we're seeing the debunking the myth of the starving artist.
That's right. Well said. That's what I think is that's the future here. I know people, when he was on in the last few weeks, and then we had Metacoven on talking about the B20 museum. I mean, it's insane to listen to the stories they have to tell. I mean, people already was very successful. I think he could have continued to just, he could have flourished without everything that's happened in the last 6 months. But it is wonderful to see. So he's like one of the best examples of someone who continued to just create art and built up a fan base through social media, especially. And then, I don't know who it was or who had a hand in exposing him to the ability to use NFTs with his art. But that's it. That is what really allowed him to more recently say, hey, I'm not just going to post it on Instagram, and which is still a wonderful thing. He shares his art with the world. Now it allows him to create something that is digitally scarce and someone can basically claim rights to owning it. And I guess the wonderful turnaround to all of this has been that if anyone has checked out the B20, B as in boy, B20 museum, Metacoven, who's another huge NFT collector, bought all of his pieces and then built a museum in crypto voxels. So it's there for everyone to enjoy. It's not like these are physical pieces of art that are kept in a private gallery that no one can view somewhere. That to me is one of the coolest paradigm shifts in this space, is that it's just much easier to own something that is valuable and digitally scarce as an NFT, but then to share it with the world. So just, kudos to them on that.
Again, when you're talking about milestones within the NFT space, I mean, Beeple's launch with Christie's on Maker's Place, this is something that all art collectors have been looking forward for such a long time. And again, it's not for the monetary aspect. A lot of us have been looking forward to seeing this attention and validation. That, again, we're moving, we're in a space that is revolutionizing the world. And I think that's extremely important for people to know. There you go. The 5,000, right?
This is it. Yeah. So again, background for anyone, Beeple for over 13 years, or his name's Mike, but Mike has been making art for over 13 years. And he created this huge collage of all of that work. And it's cool. I mean, to see a traditional auction house like this that's going to, allow people to bid on this. And frankly, I mean, I'm excited. I don't know if you're going to bid on this. I wanted to, find out if you have any interest. I'm hoping that someone from the community outbids all of the folks that normally bid on Christie's. I'd like to kind of show them who's boss and how we roll as a community.
I can guarantee you that if it is not myself, the NFT collector community will definitely put up a fight. One of the interesting things that we noticed, starting yesterday, is a user account by the name of Elon Musk actually started liking and going through work on Maker's Place. Once again, we don't really know if it's him. But again, while I would love to go up against Tesla and SpaceX, at the moment, I think we're going to have to wait for a little bit bigger of a bull market.
Yeah, I know. I mean, another person who's well respected and has brought a lot of positive attention from the mainstream lately is Mark Cuban. He's fascinated by NFTs, and I think one of the best things one of the things that has shocked me in the last year is someone like Mark, who is very well versed. He understands the NFT space about as well as most folks who are deep in the space, and that's cool. I mean, that's so cool to see someone make that journey, go from 0 to 1 on NFTs, and then be able to have the soapbox to be able to explain it to more people. So, it's just the beginning. Like, if you watch, I personally have never really followed Gary Vaynerchuk, but I know he's a very well-respected person. And I saw him on CNBC like a day or so ago explaining NFTs. And I mean, he talks with a lot of passion about it. I mean, he is very clearly bought into the concept. I don't know if he's actually buying NFTs, but I love, like, it's very genuine. It's not like, let me shill something that I just got exposure to. Like, there's a true love there, and you can kind of see, like, this guy's probably here to stay. And if he's here to stay, how many more people are going to listen to people like Gary Vaynerchuk and Mark Cuban and follow us into this space?
Absolutely. And I mean, the other breaking news that I was thrilled to see was Chamath as well, right? Chamath talking about, he was talking, I think, about his crypto investments. And if it wasn't CNBC, it was another one of the financial news networks, asked him what else was he looking for, or what else was he looking into. And, I think after a tiny bit of hesitation, he said NFTs. And, we are going to open up our portfolio and let everyone know what we're collecting. And he's collecting artwork. He's collecting sports collectibles, I think, from the video clip. Dude, I mean, those are 4 people, right?
Yeah.
What happens when the rest of these large corporation heads decide to come into the space? It could be very, very epic.
That's right. There is tangential sort of like momentum. Boy, that sounded like a bunch of bullshit. There's momentum for us all to gain just from the news of Elon Musk and Tesla, buying Bitcoin. That's great. It brings attention just to the crypto space. But again, like, what we've discussed here is, you've got Chamath, Gary, and Mark, who are all able to walk the walk and talk about this. So it's just really cool. Years ago, I never dreamed that we would get to this point where just, more of the world is ready to learn about this. Like, we have a long way to go. There's a lot of friction points. I know wallets is still if you own an NFT, if you're not using something like NBA Top Shot, which for what criticisms they've gotten, I respect. They've created this incredible sort of user experience. And I think for folks that aren't worried about censorship resistance and being able to, like, hold it in, their ledger and know that it is absolutely theirs and no one can take it, whatever. Like, there's a spectrum of needs in this space, and they're definitely fulfilling it. And they have just outrageous demand right now for those NBA Top Shots. Why don't we talk, though, or shift gears here to the Whale token? So you launched a social token in, I thought it was like this summer, July, August, and the market cap now is, having checked last night, I think it was around like 75 million. Talk to me about, what was your thinking behind the Whale token? What's the mission, and how has it gone so far?
Sure thing. Thank you. So we launched on May 18th, 2020. Yep, 2020. And pretty much since then, we've seen an enormous growth, not only in the value of Whale, but also in the value of the underlying assets, which we call the Whale Vault, as well as the community membership. So we've grown to the point where Whale at the moment is not only the single-handed largest collection of NFTs in the space, but it is also the largest general community of NFT collectors and creators, being so the largest social token. Dude, I mean, if you told me back in May 18th in May last year that we'd be where we are, honestly, I'd have to throw you out and call bullshit, right? So anything that has happened has pretty much blew all expectations that we had throughout the space throughout that time. Whale, essentially, what it is that it is a social token that is backed by all of the assets that I had been collecting since 2019, all the way into 2020. Essentially, what I wanted to do was find a way to be able to turn that collection into a community and a collective, which is why we started a social token called Whale. The vision for Whale is empowering anyone and everyone to become a whale through Whale. And what do I mean by that? I can tell you till today, two interesting facts. I have never sold a single NFT since entering the space. I've only given it away. I've probably given away a few. And Whale, I have never sold a single Whale. I've only given it away as well. So essentially what it was that, what I wanted to do was create a community of NFT enthusiasts and leverage Whale to be able to incentivize the total NFT community back in 2020 to be able to do some amazing shit. When we started, I think I dropped about 40,000 Whale, which in today's value is about $460,000 to anyone who was in the Whale community. And basically, if they had held by then, I think they'd have quite a bit of money right now. But in addition to that, what we did was, because Whale achieved liquidity very quickly, what we did was we gave Whale grants to a lot of the projects within the NFT space that had been heavily investing, a lot of podcasts, but hadn't been able to reach any form of financial sustainability.
Wow.
So at some point in time, I think we were giving away $150,000 every single month to all of these amazing creators within the NFT space. What it slowly grew to be is basically, naturally, I always knew that what we had collected was probably some of the most rare NFT assets at that point in time. And I had faith that that basket of assets was only going to continue to grow. So we started off, I think, at $580,000 in asset valuation, being done by an objective third party. In their latest official valuation, they're valuing us at $7 million over the course of 9 to 10 months. In unofficial valuation, if you look, including our NBA Top Shot collection from intangible.market, we invested $150,000 in fiat in NBA Top Shots in the summer of 2020. And that collection is being valued by intangible.market at $21 million today. So it's been an amazing journey. It's been a journey of giving. It's been a journey of sharing. And, we found a way to make a project last for 100 years rather than 5.
This is such a cool project. I want to clarify too, I don't hold Whale. So if anyone's watching this, I may hold Whale in the future. Advice, please know, I've explored this strictly as just an enthusiast, a user of everything NFTs and DeFi. So I look at this and I'm like, this is just so powerful to see. Like you essentially create I almost want to say like an index, but it's an index of the NFT market based on, of course, like your own methodology of what sorts of NFTs you're seeking out, what you find to be valuable. Wow, I got to say, like, I wish I had talked to you about this sooner, because it's just really cool. I've been thinking more recently, like, how could I potentially get exposure to the metaverse? And the Index Co-op is working on a metaverse index, which is a cool idea. But you've been at this for a while. You've been at this now for before launching Whale. That was quite a bit of time, but you've actually now had Whale live for about 9 months. So just crazy to see, like, the growth of what's in the vault. What about if someone holds, if someone were to buy Whale, though, I guess what sort of guarantees or protections do they have? Like, what sorts of controls have you put in place to ensure that someone doesn't just drain the vault and take all the NFTs? Like, how does that all work?
Gotcha. So I think initially speaking, because a lot of the infrastructure from NFTs are still under construction,
right.
What we have done is we have put together a world-class, I guess, physical security process in place for all of the assets in the vault that are, once again, that are in a cold wallet. So I think we've tried to do the best that we can do at the moment. However, what we do want to move to at the point in time that is possible is definitely move to a multi-sig wallet process. It's just that with a lot of NFTs that we have today, some of them require you to be able to sign a lot of transactions to be able to rent out NFTs or to provide access for someone to use those NFTs. Multi-sig wallets just aren't there at the moment. So we have a world-class physical security process in place, but eventually we will move to a multi-sig solution when that becomes available. I guess the other thing is, again, in order to ensure that there's a lot of transparency within the project itself, while I'm standing in front of you guys pseudo-anonymous today, actually we selected 10 community members, and not 10 community members, but 10 members of the NFT community, including some of the leaders in this industry, to actually have all of my total information. So they know where I live, they know who I am. And ultimately, I would love to come out as in my real persona. But again, with earlier on in the day, had a little bit of friction with some members of the NFT community, received some death threats. So I did want to keep relatively pseudo-anonymous. I guess on top of that, recently what we've done to ensure transparency and security is we've actually hired one of the most preeminent crypto attorneys in the entire space. And basically what they have done is they've made sure that we have all of the legal and corporate compliance. Whether that's determination that we are a utility token, whether that is setting up the corporate structure and corporate governance to ensure that we have all of those protections in place for anyone who is holding Whale. So I guess where we are at the moment is we always try to do the best that we can do at every stage in development. Right. But ultimately, my vision for the project is, number one, all of the Whale and all of the assets within the vault need to move to a multi-sig solution. And the second thing is we have a Whale DAO, but the Whale DAO, due to the cost of gas and, again, due to the development of plug and play DAO solutions, we actually do that in the Discord using bot automation. But ultimately, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see an on-chain DAO that is connected to that multi-sig wallet, and basically all of those transactions will flow seamlessly. I do believe it's just a matter of time.
So the Whale token, the way I think of it right now is that it's this social token that reflects the value of what's in this vault. But it also is intended as a governance token. I guess, like, are you all doing votes right now? Like, do you use anything like Snapshot or?
Oh, so we have been looking at Snapshot, but the main thing that we've been using a more dumbed down version of what we call the Whale DAO in the Whale Discord channel itself.
Right.
Honestly speaking, it has been extremely successful. We've had 21 proposals so far over the course of 4 months, I think, since we launched it. 14 proposals have passed. I think we have 3 in total that are about to pass over the next 48 hours. But yeah, I mean, I would love for everything to be automated and on chain. But due to the value of these assets in play, we just have to be very steady and very conservative, I guess, in our technological decisions. Jim is actually our technological partner, by the way. So NFT 42 is Whale's technological partner. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. If anyone's wondering who that is, that's Jimmy from Avastars and Token Smart. He's someone, if you look up J with a 1 instead of the I in Jimmy, he's just got so much knowledge to share, and he's very entertaining to listen to. If you watch him debate someone, let's see here. So the way that DAO works right now then is it doesn't matter, I guess, ultimately how many tokens you have, or would I be right to say, do you even need a token to access that Discord? Like, in other words, like, it's one person, one vote, right? That's the way it works in Discord.
So the way that we did it is as follows, and it's a little bit convoluted, but the way that we did it as follows. So basically, to enter the DAO, you need to hold a whale role, right? We have 3 different types of whale roles. We have dolphin, shark, and whale. To be a dolphin, you need to hold 17 whale in your MetaMask. We have a bot that automatically verifies that, NFT 42 bot. And then it automatically assigns you the role in Discord, similarly for the dolphin and whale role. So basically what we have is we have this community of people who some are role holding and some aren't, but only the role holding people can participate in the DAO. Then after that, we go to a 2-stage Discord process. The first process is what we call the DAO house. And basically the proposal is initially launched, and anybody who holds a role can actually vote on that proposal up or down. And we have certain criteria for it to pass. If it passes through the DAO house, we have something called the DAO Senate. And the DAO Senate is a group of large whale holding members who have over 500 whale in their MetaMask. Again, they will make the final vote on whether this proposal passes or not. We found that by using this way, essentially we could listen to the entire community, while at the same time ensuring that everyone had a say in terms of whether a proposal passed or not. So it's not the most elegant solution, but we're very practical and we like to get things done.
I'm not totally sure how Synthetics does it now, which is kind of sad to me because I still am. I would count myself as a involved member of the Synthetics community, but back in at least 2019, like a lot of the discussions would just happen in Discord, and I was always sort of blown away by how like the community would come to a consensus without us all having to battle on chain with all the sorts of governance issues that you see with other communities. So no, it's that is definitely sounds elegant, like what you guys have designed there. Very interesting.
We took it even one step further. So in order to ensure the security of the vault, when we established our company, our official company in Singapore that manages the vault, we also have a traditional board of directors with governance and bylaws in there to add, kind of trying to merge the traditional with the decentralized. But it's been working fine, and it's a wonderful community. It's a lot of proposals. Some of them are extremely insightful, and ultimately, I think anyone who's in the space, if they're seeing any amount of non-decentralization, it's not a great thing. And my dream again is to take this project fully decentralized.
So I've only got a few more questions for you, and what you just mentioned sort of leads into the topic of, do you care whether the NFTs that you acquire, do you care whether they exist on Ethereum? You obviously use NBA Top Shot, which is on Flow blockchain, but I guess, are you more chain agnostic, or like this is a bigger conversation that's come up lately just because Ethereum gas has been rough. But we also too have all had that conversation of the importance of a decentralized and secure layer one. So anyways, yeah, what are your thoughts on this? Are you collecting NFTs on other blockchains beyond Ethereum and Flow?
I am very much chain agnostic. So I think one of the main things that I always tell people is, if you want to maximize profit, have an open mind. Maximalism, whether that's BTC maximalism, whether that's ETH maximalism, whether that's NFT maximalism, you can't increase profit. The most profitable person is the one who keeps an open mind and is going to profit from ETH, is going to profit from DeFi, and is going to profit from NFTs. Right. So I am absolutely agnostic. As you pointed out, we are and sorry, I keep saying this, but we're the largest holder of NBA Top Shot cards in value in the space as well. And I love the Dapper Labs guys to death. Have been on a couple of podcasts with them as well. I think, sorry, to quote Deng Xiaoping, black cat or white cat, any cat that catches the mouse is a good cat. So we're really looking for the good cat every single point we make an investment. For the situation with ETH and the gas fees, I know that everybody's complaining about it, but I'm actually very optimistic in terms of the way that it's going to be resolved coming this year. And maybe it's because I have a little bit more knowledge or access to knowledge within the space. But when you take a look at things that and this is public knowledge, like what Matic is doing, again, there is a huge potential there to resolve the gas issues for NFTs. And on top of that, probably the scaling solution wise, my two favorite projects that I'm seeing are Flow, which again heavily invested in during their Dutch auction, and Immutable X. So Gods Unchained, Gods Unchained was, the back in the day, they were the project that minted the most NFTs ever right? Um, their business model is dependent on being able for people to trade a card that is worth 10 cents at 1 cent or less than 1 cent. What Immutable X is a level. It's a ZK rollup, whereby people are going to be able to mint off chain and be able to do all these amazing different things while leveraging the network effects of Ethereum, right? I think a lot of people are finding that one of the issues with other layer one solutions is that you have to build out the architecture and you have to build out the networks all over again. I think the solution that's going to win is the one that is built on the solution with the most network effects.
Yeah. Oh, and what's that? We're going to cut what he said earlier, but we're going to keep this. Okay. Yes. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, no, I agree that there is light, or just around the corner for us. It is rough to look at gas prices and to say, geez, it's been 3 to 4 weeks of being well above 100 gwei, but gasnow.org has this really useful historical chart, and when you look at it, even the fast recommended, which is normally less than, I think, like a minute to confirm a transaction, on average, it's sat below 100 gwei for even the last most of that time. If you look, like, we've spent most of our time under 100 gwei. It's just the community becomes very vocal when it's paying such high gas prices. So yeah, these L2 solutions, like you mentioned, Matic. I just used QuickSwap yesterday, so unrelated to NFTs, but it's basically like a Uniswap that's built on Matic network, and it's just cool. You can you pay like a few cents per transaction, and transactions take a few seconds, and I'm able to benefit still from, like you said, some of the network effects of Ethereum. It's just getting into that layer 2 and seeing which other applications, whether they are NFT related or DeFi use cases, we're going to see more built on those layer 2s, and there will be some issues with composability, but I think long term, I'm excited for ETH2 to help us solve some of these issues. So
I don't think it's going to be a winner takes all. I think there are going to be multiple chains, and I think everyone is doing. And once again, I have very limited exposure to what scaling solutions are out there. But I think it's going to be a it's going to be a multi-chain solution, and it's going to be amazing, right?
Yeah. We had on recently ThorChain. I've dug into, well, that's more of an interoperability solution, but on the L2 sides, people should check out Optimism, ZK Sync. There's a Loopring, which is what Loopring Dex runs on. That's a ZK rollup that they use. And just keep your heads up, like there's help around the corner here. WhaleShark, I had one last question for you. So let's zoom out 30 years from now. What are you hoping will define your impact on the NFT community?
I hope that we can look back to this period in time. I hope that we can look back to this period in time since 2019 to now, and people have seen WhaleShark and the whale community as a positive force for growth for this evolution of digital assets. Again, I think you can see the very fact that I like to use my avatar is I don't have any claims to wealth. I don't have any claims to fame. And honestly, I don't have any claims to legacy, right? It's for me, it's just really about making a difference, making a positive difference, whether that is from a total industry perspective, or whether it is getting on the DMs with a struggling artist and helping them out. So again, I think the one legacy that I would like to leave, if anything at all, at 30 years down the road, is they can look back and say, hey, do you remember that there was the whale community and WhaleShark, and they were a positive force in driving this NFT revolution forward? Yeah,
I think a part of the reason you've been such a beloved person in the community is I have heard these stories of you. You're very approachable, and obviously we're all living in a digital first world right now. But I think it really matters. I'll speak to like my Twitter DMs. I don't get to all of them, but I really try.
Yep.
And I would welcome anyone to message me questions about DeFi. I don't know as much about NFTs as you, but I do get questions about it. And I think those little interactions really matter, because for me, I can go back and connect the dots and say part of the reason I ended up in this community was because a few people just took a little bit of time with me, you know, and that was enough affirmation that I was like, all right, like I want to continue to work on this. Like, I think this is the future. And, you know, I've got some theses about how this is going to play out. It's all about helping people. And so, you know, if anyone is you know, if you're getting questions from others, like, again, just remember, like, that one person that asks you a question could be the next founder of a major application, of like a major breakthrough in the community. So you gotta take advantage of those opportunities to really engage with the community.
DeFi Dad, you're doing the good work on a much larger platform than any of us. So I guess from the community at whole, thank you so much for spreading the good word. Thank you so much for spreading the knowledge. And yeah, to your point, I mean, just spending 5 minutes with somebody might actually change their life, right? And again, you're doing that on a much broader scale than any of us. So thank you so much for that.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I always joke around. I'm like saving these clips for my wife. I'm like, see, I matter. Shut up and go wipe that diaper up. Okay, all right. Well, hey, WhaleShark, anything else that you wanted to share? Like, you know, I want to remind everyone, we talked all about the whale token, more importantly, the community behind that, which, you know, there's so much you can do to get involved just by going to the Discord, but you can also go to whale.me to learn more there. That's also where you can learn about what goes into the vault, which is that grand collection of NFTs you have. And then also, everyone, make sure you follow WhaleShark on Twitter. But yes, anything else that you wanted to share?
I just maybe perhaps give a huge shout out to the whale community as well as my whale leadership team. Guys, thank you. You're my heart. You're my soul. This journey has just begun. Thank you so much. And once again, we welcome everybody with open arms to the whale community if you have an avid interest in NFTs. Thank you so much for having me on, DeFi Dad.
Hey, thanks. Thank you. I'm going to hit an outro video here in a sec, so we'll be in a green room. But reminder, everyone, in 15 to 20 minutes, we're actually going to do a second interview, so separate live stream. I'll get started. And that'll be with somewhat related. It's, you know, playing a game with your crypto assets. The founder of Pull Together, Leighton, will be on. So we're going to talk about their new governance token and just about Pull Together in general. So other than that, though, let me make sure I remove that. There we go. Hey, thanks so much, everyone. And yeah, if you can join us in about 20 minutes, we'd love to have you. WhaleShark, thank you so much for your time. This was awesome. And we'd love to have you back.
Thank you so much, DeFi Dad. It really was my honor.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.